What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for another ball review. Today we're going to look at the new release by Storm, the Summit Peak. This is the Pro version of the original Summit. It features the same AI core that's in the Summit, but it does feature the TX23 Pearl cover stock. But before we get into this, make sure you do that thing. Hit that like, subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications so you know when my content hits the internet. And before I get out there and throw some shots and we analyze what's going on with this ball motion of this new Summit Peak, I just want to thank Pin Chasers Veterans for allowing me to come out here, do my videos, do my coaching. They're very gracious to me, so I really appreciate it. All right, and how did I drill the Summit Peak? Well, on this layout, we went 5 by 3 by 2.5 VLS layout. And today I am going to compare that to the Storm Journey. Both of these balls are Pearl and cover stock, so that's why I wanted to compare the two. I was thinking about doing the Sublime, but that ball is just a little bit different. The way I drilled the Sublime wasn't very similar to what the Summit Peak was, and these two balls are drilled very close. On the layout I have on my Storm Journey, you know, when you get done with this video, go ahead and head on over and watch that video. That VLS layout is going to be 5 by 3 by 3, and that one, the pin is going to be a little lower with the pin, with the higher number of the pin buffer. So that was almost like a truer pin down layout for me for the way I throw it in my rev rate. So since the numbers are just really similar, I really wanted to showcase both of these. That way we can see the difference in the core strength and the cover strength of these two bowling balls. All right, it's time to get out here and throw some shots. The surface on both of these balls, this Summit Peak, is out of box. I scuffed it slightly just to get a little of the reactor gloss on it, but I wanted to leave some on it. That way, because from the first test shots in the last couple weeks that I've had this ball, it really rolls a lot better with a little bit of reactor gloss on it. I've been using it in my second shift league that I bowl during the week. And because we bowl in the second shift and lanes are transitioning a lot, this ball is really giving me a shape that I need during that league, so I can get a little left and throw a little more right, and I have recovery down lane. Where when I use the Journey during that league, that is a ball that's going to be, I'm going to stay a little more to the right, and as I move more left in league and the lanes transition, that ball does delay a little bit and gets a little sharper down lane. So it's not the kind of controllable motion I would like, where the Summit, compared to what the Summit Peak gives me during league. All right, I'm gonna get on the lane, throw some shots. Hopefully I throw a pretty good shot here since I've been standing around and I've been talking. I'm gonna do my usual thing. I'm gonna start to the right and we're gonna let it rip and see what happens. All right, a little left, gotta get some shots under my belt, gotta get warmed up a little bit more since I was setting up and doing other things. What I like about the Summit Peak, it does want to rev up in the mid lane just like the regular Summit. The regular Summit for me was a stronger symmetrical ball, kind of smoother down lane, kind of really reminded me of like a stronger Axiom, a more continuous Axiom, where I think the Summit Peak is going to be more of like an Axiom Pearl. Even though the cover stocks are a little bit different, this one has TX23, where the Axiom Pearl, I think it had NEX Pearl cover stock, so it's a little different. But okay, this time let's throw another shot. Try to throw a better one now. That tugged that one a little bit. Not bad, not bad. We are here earlier in the morning. It is a fresher house shot. Almost got the place to myself today, which is really easy. I can talk to you guys, won't get distracted. All right, next shot again. There we go, that's a lot better. All right, boys and girls, that was pretty pure. That was nice. This ball, I'm really liking it because it's a stronger symmetrical and it wants to pick up more in the mid lane with the core. And the Pearl cover is giving me a little more length through the front from what I want. The Summit was a little bit earlier than that and a lot slower down lane for me, so I really had to make sure that when the lanes were transitioning that I moved left a little bit quicker. This ball, I tend to see that I can stay on top of it a little bit more when the lanes are transitioning, so I don't have to open my angles as much, or I can stay within my game, and that's what I want to do. All right, let's throw one more shot, then we'll throw the Journey. Not today, 9-pin, not today. All right, as you can see, lanes are pretty good today. I have a really good ball motion. I can really trust it. I'm making quality shots. Where some of my other videos, you see that some of the ball motions that I have with some of the equipment, they're really not matching up, and I have been trying to test out some layouts, but I think I'm fine-tuning what those layouts are gonna be, so that way I can get ready for the PBA 50 Tour. All right, so now I'm gonna switch over the Journey. This ball for me, even though with that lower pin buffer, even though it's a 1/2 inch, it tends to be wants to delay a little bit and be a little quicker off the spot. But I think the TX16 Pearl cover stock that's on the Journey is a little bit stronger. but I'm gonna throw some shots and we can see if there's a difference. So I'm at the same spot like I was with the Summit. I don't want to move yet. I'm gonna move it here in a minute, but just want to showcase the difference where I'm at playing on the lane. Oh, not a very good one, but that's all right. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, it looks like it wants to get going a little bit earlier than the Summit Peak. So that cover, because I have a little polish on it, it might be a little longer than what's on the Journey. The Journey I have scratched up a little bit lightly with 2000 just to get some of the reactive gloss on it. Because of that lower pin buffer, it was delaying a little bit more than I wanted to down lane when it went from the oil to the dry. So I wanted it to be a little bit smoother in the transition from oil to dry, so I did take the polish off it. But today it's rolling pretty good. I'm gonna throw one more shot and we'll see what's going on. I want to move one or two left. Not as good. Not as good. Elbow out a little bit, but that's okay. It still didn't make as sharp a shape as it did last time because I moved one left. It was a little bit smoother, but overall these balls are really similar. But I've noticed from using the ball in league, the Journey that is, that I can play a little bit farther right when I start second shift league. But like I said, as I mentioned earlier, as I get left, it does want to skid too much, be a little too sharp off the dry, where the Summit Peak revs up in the mid lane. It's a little bit smoother off the dry with a little more polish on it. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Summit Peak and we're going to start moving left and see if I can get a good reaction or I can test the limits of this ball. All right, so a little more left, just a couple boards. I'm going to stay right where I was with the Journey. See if this gives me a little more length and a little bit quicker off the back where that Journey was rounder. That was more like 9, and there it is. So I got like 11 to 9 before the arrows, and you can see the ball skidded farther, and when it went from the oil to the dry, it just was really confused. It didn't know if it wanted to hook or not. So I moved a little bit too far, so I'm going to move back one right and kind of throw it a little more in the dry, see if it comes off harder. So today for this video, we might just be using straighter angles today because it's really coming off the dry the right way, the way I wanted. And I'm only balling by myself, so it's not going to transition a lot. Oh, that's a bad one. And I told you guys, past videos, low rev rate, left to right, it doesn't work. If I'm going to do that, I really need to make a better shot. All right, let's try that again. More quality shot here. Getting out of my comfort. There we go. Okay. Yep, still a little bit more in that oil than I would want. It's really kind of skating through the front a little bit. It's getting down the mid lane. It's not really revving up like I want it to or like it should. It's kind of skating a little too far, and then when it wants to make that transition, it's just not doing it. Move back right where I was. I don't need to move left. These balls. Uh-oh, bad one. Okay, there it is. See, it went a little slower, threw a little straighter, tried to throw it better. I did roll it off my hand better, but as you see, when I went straighter, it picked up and went really quick. Actually, it picked up and it hooked a lot earlier than where the last one I tried to throw it a little right. So that's what part of when you're in our rev rate category, that's part of the problem when you're bowling on house shots. You try to make little increments left and throw it just slightly right, where you catch a little bit out of oil and the ball's like really confused down lane, but then you move back in the dry, you throw a better shot, even though it physically wasn't as qual as I want, and then it hooks early and we're like, oh great, what's going on? All right, one more time. We'll throw the Journey. We'll move more in between second and third arrow and see what that does. Since I'm in between first and second arrow today, right now. More like that. Slower, kept my feet underneath me, threw it like 7/8 at the arrow, got it out at about 5, and it was nice and smooth. So the lanes are transitioning to where when I first started, it was quicker on the back end. Now it's becoming more rounder. So I'm gonna have to move left and make better shots. Like that. Slowed down, kept my feet underneath me, rolled it nice, and it still was round just like the last one, but it blended out the wet dry a lot better. All right, so I'm gonna throw the Journey in there right now and see if there's a difference between the two because of the pin buffers. Now the Journey I'm probably gonna throw on a little bit more fresher patterns where The Summit Peak is going to be more in transition or later in blocks. Let's see. Make sure I make the right shot here. All right. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, exactly. See, got in the oil. Same thing with the Summit, where I was with the Summit Peak. Because of that one, the core in that one's a little stronger. It picked up in the mid lane and was round and made it to the pocket. That one, it kind of was like a little more confused. It delayed a little bit, getting towards the mid lane, and then it was really confused coming off the dry. So that's not a ball I'm gonna be throwing where I'm playing right now. Throw it one more time, see if I can throw a better shot. There we go. That was a lot better. So I got it out a little bit farther than the dry last time, more quality of a shot. But just like the Summit Peak, it was rounder, it was a little earlier, and more of a rounder shape off the dry, where the Summit Peak was more of a, I shouldn't say rounder, a little bit slower shape than the Summit Peak. But we're just splitting hairs now. They're like, we're really in between. I'm gonna go back to the Summit Peak and we'll wrap this thing up. All right, let's see here. Maybe a couple more quality shots. There we go. Nothing like getting messengers while I'm on filming, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so as you can see, we're gonna throw one more shot, wrap this up. This Summit Peak is, I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking it. It is a little bit different shape than what I have on the Storm Journey. I'm gonna take one more shot and we'll be all done. All right, there you go, guys. There's my video of the new release by Storm, the Summit Peak. Make sure you do that thing, hit that like, subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications. You know, my content hits the internet. We got a lot of more content coming down the road. We got 3 more balls coming out. The 900 Global Harsh Reality, the Exponent Pearl, and also the Attention Star, which is looking pretty good. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.